What I think we discussed today at the screening of the board members of the central bank, and I made a point clear that as you are aware, as the chairman Senate Committee on Banking, in the last 3.5 years, we've been following AMCON to ensure that we're able to get back the loan given to some few Nigerians to the tune of about 4.17 trillion. And this loan was taken by just about 1,000 Nigerians, and out of the 4 trillion, only about 280 Nigerians that were responsible for about 3 trillion. So looking at that, I believe we need to look at the economic situation of this country, and that was why today I'm of the opinion that over 2 million Nigerians benefited from the COVID-19 support by the federal government. I'm talking about the loan to household, which is between 500,000 to 1 million naira in some instances, some even 200,000 naira. And I believe because of the crisis we're facing in this country, economically, not only in Nigeria, but it's globally. If you look at what's happening in America and other countries, the government have intervened to forfeit loans, even for students, if you look at what happened in America recently. And that's the first time such kind of thing is happening. And I believe that is why I'm urging the central bank and the federal government to look into the issue of these smallholder farmers that were given the loan of about 1 million naira, some 500,000, and some petty traders. There's a household that took a loan of about 200,000, 500,000. If we can look at that, all the money is nothing to talk about. And some of them collected the loan to go into small businesses, but because of the serious crisis of insecurity in our own country, some of them have not been able to go to farm. Some of them, they are smallholder farmers. Some that are petty traders have not been able to do much because of insecurity. And if you look at what's happening in this country, the crisis of insecurity is not only in one part of the country, it's everywhere in Nigeria as we're speaking. So that is the reason why it's my personal opinion that I believe we'll have to look into that. And I have no doubt in my mind most of these small business have not been able to survive because of the global economic crisis that also affected Nigeria. And you look at the issue of inflation and many other factors. So that is why I'm calling on the federal government to forfeit those little loans that are about 1 million naira, 500,000, 200,000 to household and SMEs. That the money was given during COVID-19. I know it's much, but if you consider the fact that a lot of Nigerians have collected loans in the past, and eventually because of the global economic crisis 2009, the government converted the personal loan to sovereign loan, and AMCON was created. Until this moment, we have not achieved anything because most of these big men are now flying with their private jets, owning houses in some part of the abroad, overseas, and they are not willing to pay the loans. So that's the reason I believe we should look into the problem of these households that borrowed money. You will agree with me, the economy is even becoming even bad. And that is not because the common man in this country have a hand in that. I know it's not also the federal government problem. To some extent, is the issue of insecurity. Of course, it has affected everybody. And of course, if we look at the crisis of COVID-19, like I said earlier, affected our small businesses. So they borrowed the money. And at that time, the central bank collected their BVN number as collateral for them to pay the loans. But I'm not sure if those people can be able to at least pay the money they borrowed because of the crunching economic crisis we're facing in this country. That is why I made this position, and I'm going to follow it up with the central bank. I don't have to, maybe my opinion might not necessarily be other people's opinion, but I believe I have to say this, knowing fully that this country, we know what is happening, we know the level of poverty in our own society, we know the crisis we are facing economically, and I think that should serve as a kind of a grant to the poor people, and I stand to be challenged. That is my opinion.
But some people will say that monies borrowed should be paid back, and at the time when Nigeria is running a deficit budget, there's this quest for Nigeria to generate funds from across. But don't you think it would be a better way for these people to still repay these loans back?
These are people that are poor people, their households. Federal government have spent billions of naira in intervention grants, but I can tell you the only money you can account for as we are speaking is the money borrowed to people by central bank. Most of those grants that the federal government have given to the masses of this country, I don't think you can account for them. This one is simply because people open accounts and the money was given to them because they have account numbers and they have to apply. But in some cases, some people even told us that they want to give people money through a table payment. And I cannot verify that. So this is the one that is transparent. This is the one we can safely say it has gone to the hands of the poor people. That is the household and the masses. That's why I'm calling on that. This money is not in trouble compared to the level of grants given to the masses by this government. And if the government decides to fulfill this, it's not a bad idea. I told you that there are some Nigerians, when we faced similar situation, 2009, AMCON was created, if you remember, 4.17 trillion was converted from personal loan to sovereign loan. As we are speaking, those money have not been recovered by AMCON. And as the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, only last year, my colleagues and I came up with an amendment. It was my own bill. And President Buhari assented to the bill, where we agreed that we must at least amend the AMCON Act to give AMCON more powers to be able to recover those loans. But we have not been able to achieve that because most of these big men have a lot of money, they go to the courts, they drag AMCON to court, and in some cases, they even go to the level of Supreme Court. We have not been achieving that because they have so much money. And these individuals, if I like, I can mention their names. But I won't mention it today, but very soon maybe we will do that. And I can assure you, they're big men. Most of them, like I said, they are moving with private jets, having houses in very expensive countries around the world. So why are we now talking about the poor people of this country? Government is meant for the people. That is the most important thing. That's why we're elected. And I'm not saying forfeit this loan to the big people. These people that collected 200,000, 500,000, at maximum was 1 million naira to households. And these are people that are millions of people in this country from all over Nigeria. So we're talking about millions of people that only collected that amount of money. That is not up to the money collected by one Nigerian, that the government at that time paid the money for them. As we're speaking, the same government, may not be this government, but government in the past, paid that 4 trillion to pay the loans for big men. And these big men have not been able to pay the money back. So that is the position. So we have to think as leaders. And if we want to think as leaders, we have to know that this government have responsibility to serve the people. And people does not mean the big people. We are talking about the poor people. They are part of the Nigerians. They hardly benefit from this budget where, I'm here in National Assembly, we pass a lot of budgets. But I can tell you there are some Nigerians who have never benefited from any budget in this country. And yet they're Nigerians. So if that's the only thing they'll benefit from, so be it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.